This is my notes device. Start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Judge, welfare program doesn't happen when country are at peace. We are talking about millions of dollars or even more circulated to the citizen. We say it needs context. We think this program of bansos happens in times of emerging crisis where people are dislocated and marginalized, where daily life is paused and people are under serious threat, like pandemic, monetary crisis, government instability, war, or even natural disaster. In times like this, government must choose how to facilitate and minimize the damage of these unpredictable events. In oppositions, we choose direct goods and necessity. First of all, I want to rebut the government's argument. First, if we choose to give society cash, we think that it will not be effective. Remembering how welfare programs happen during crisis, it will just make the situation worse because people will just have less access for all the things they need. During crisis, good scarcity will happen. For example, during natural disaster like volcano eruption, everything is contaminated. It will be very hard for us to find clean water. Even if we find it, it will be very expensive remembering supply and demand law. Local suppliers will take this crisis situation as their moment to profit. Hence, hyperinflation happens. If what people get is only money, it will be extremely not valuable in times of crisis. They do not have the authority to change the price of the things they need. But if the government chooses to do welfare programs with basic needs, it will work better because people don't have to buy and try to find what they are needing. The very same supplier the Prime Minister is trying to protect is the threat. They will be the one who do monopolies because people that actually needs it will struggle to buy what they are needing. Supply will just make their stuffs more expensive, and they are the one who has authority to change the price. In result, society is tricked by it. The value of the thing they are buying is not symmetrical with the price. And then second of all, the Prime Minister mentioned about corruption. In the status quo, we already have KPK and we also have APBN Negara. There is transparency in our transaction. In your side, there are actually a possibility for people to not get the money. So during crisis, APBN will decide the budget during crisis, and a lot of other parties will be there are a lot of other parties supervising it. This will actually just make the possibility for corruption to be bigger. In digital banking, the nominal can be tracked by civilians. There is actually less people supervising it, so it is more private. Hence, it is easier to lie. It is still possible for corruption. For example, fictional bank account disguised as underprivileged people, but turns out a money laundering account, not to mention bank secrecy. It is harder to track this digital money on their side, but at least in our side, our stuffs can be physically seen and calculated. It can be documented and goes viral on TikTok if something went missing. Hence, it is easier for other people like journalists or economic experts or even social activists to supervise. Our stance is, we think that basic necessities hands out is what people is needing during crisis. When chaos embarks, terror spread, panic and inability to think, stress and people are losing their job. People need help without further burdening their situation. It is evil to make them struggle more. Our goal here is to make people to able to survive crisis, being able to live again. How do we want to achieve this? Is by we will give struggling society all they need during crisis, such as food, clothes, clean water, meds, or even a shelter for them to live. Because our goal here is to make them to survive as a human, not to make them learn about economic during crisis because they are this close to dying. So why basic needs help is more suitable with the needs of people during emerging crisis? Okay, so first of all, we are not able to predict crisis. Let's talk about natural disaster. We do not have the ability to predict when is it coming. Let's say volcano eruption. People are losing their houses, jobs, less foods and drinks, also no money at the time. This is because they do not know when is it coming. We are not able to predict when it is coming. We cannot make preparation. We cannot stock our needs. We are shocked. We are losing our family members. We are not able to help either. And if we give them money, it won't help. For example, a girl in Aceh who lost her mother and her father is ill after the tsunami attack. Are they expecting money? The answer is no. She needs medicine to help her father. Even if we give her money to buy medicines, it will be hard for her to buy it too, knowing well the demand is high and everyone will be buying it. And then, the most able actor during crisis is the government. They have more authority. The Prime Minister mentioned about how it is more expensive because we need to transport it. But actually, it is cheaper through government. There are a lot of companies such as PT Kimia Farma that is in cooperation with the government, such as BUMN. The government will be seen as a helper by these companies. Hence, if the government asks to buy their stuffs, it will be cheaper, remembering their connection. And then we transport these basic needs to the society. It will be cheaper because the cost of transporting is based on the price of the stuffs. Hence, the society is still able to access their stuff they need. If we give them money, they don't have any ability to help themselves in a crisis because they cannot negotiate with the supplier. Their connection with those companies are different with the governments. There are still lack of needs, remembering good scarcity is happening. So, why is this much more effective to respond fear and terror that is currently happening? So, society is in panic and irrational situation. It is harder for them to recover. What the society need is they need to feel like they are safe. Life is still going on. If we give them money, remembering that they are still in fear, they will not be able to think clearly, to think about how to use that money. Even with or without financial literacy, the only people who can navigate around crisis is only the privileged one. They need to think, where do they have to use this money? How to get items and mats in cheaper price? Why is everything so expensive? Why is my money useless and invaluable? Should they just save it, and etc. Is it possible to teach people about economics when they are still in panic and they are in fear? The answer is no, they don't need it. Talking about amounts, a lot of things are expensive, including foods. The money might only enough for them to eat once. If the money ran out, they will only ask for more to the government. If we give them basic needs, they know that they are still surviving. They're still able to eat and drink and heal themselves. This will give them more motivation to live again and with less fear. And basic needs are more timeless than money. You can use it multiple times. It takes longer time for it to run out. Even if it actually ran out in the end, people won't be asking for more because they have already passed the fearing phase and they're already be able to think clearly. So why is it important to know what your people need and give it to them? If we take a look from the government side, we can see that our people are struggling. It is pretty obvious what they need. They're starving, hurt, and etc. What we need to give is tobacco, for example. It is a package that is full of what they are needing. With this, we can prevent people giving up their life and also bad stuff such as theft or looting to happen in the society. Remembering during panic, people can get selfish and steal other people's stuffs. This is what happens when you give society authority and not enough money. They can think straight and have no ability to maintain this money to be enough. Or if we follow government plan on the literacy imitation, they will give this financial aid to extremely small amount of people, considering financial literacy among underprivileged people is very, very impossible. The impact and comparative under our side is that people can easily manage their basic needs. Foods and water and drink is so much easier to ratio. This amount of rice can be enough for a week, for example. This medication is enough for 3 days. And I can expect more government trucks to come at that to reply me. We have certainty and conviction that the government is doing its job. We are free from riot and mass panic and lootings because everyone is getting food and clean water they need equally. Unlike the government's filter and mechanism, some are not going to get this help. Second of all, we will save much more money because governments will get this item from partner business that will not hyper commercials or take advantage of the crisis. Even if it's much more superficial under our side, since on their side digital trackings of transfer and corruption of fictional bank accounts also exist. In the worst case, corruption is symmetrical and may happen under both sides of the house. The difference is our program during crisis is spot on. People can rely on their government and we can minimize public hysteria and lootings. So judge, that is why we prefer to give basic needs to the society.